I didn't really want to make this video. I know that for whatever reason, this is a contentious topic and one that will undoubtedly lose me a couple of subs in the process, but I think it's more important that I talk about this topic while it's fresh because it extends beyond our regular scope of interaction with Overwatch. So let's talk about healthy communication with developers of Overwatch. Before I dive into the weeds, yes, this video is partially in response to the viral Samito clip going around, and I'm not really going to dwell on the specifics of it. The reason being is that Sam has already made an apology specifically about how he went about the criticism, and frankly, there is no need to do a hit piece or something. It's just stupid drama, and I really don't care. But what I want to focus on is the reaction and general sentiments I've found parts of the community share about this situation. I want to start with what I think is the big one, saying that the Balance team or any other developer of Overwatch deserve to be fired. There are multiple reasons why this thought is not just extremely rude, but honestly incredibly logically flawed. First off, as we all know, the games industry is in a pretty rough spot right now. Constant layoffs and closures coming seemingly at random make working in this industry more like walking around a beach with 50-year-old landmines. You never know when you're randomly just gonna blow up. How do you think it feels for a developer to be working with less resources than before, trying to keep the morale up after many friends and colleagues have been fired, to then see this mass call for them to be removed from their job? It is such a tone-deaf sentiment and honestly completely misses the point of how jobs even work. For one, no, it hasn't been the same dev team for the last 7 years, and if you actually think the Balance has been this bad for this whole time, maybe you should reevaluate your relationship with this game. 2, they always have to keep in mind all players when they make changes, regardless of if you agree with that philosophy or not. No change is as simple as X character is too strong, so they must be changed. There are a lot more layers to peel back there. Obviously, that's pretty simplified, but I think you get the point. 3, if you actually got your wish and the developers were fired, you now have to replace them with new people who have absolutely no experience and train them. Oh wait, everyone who knew how to do the job was fired, so there is no one to train them. They've got to do all of this blind. Replacing a dev team will never ever work, and the result would be way messier and probably much less frequent in terms of changes. Now you may be thinking that it's got to be an easy gig, who even cares, anyone could do it, but I promise you there is so much more than meets the eye. Not to mention, if the Balance team were replaced, there's no guarantee that all the jobs would come back, as it may be a nice opportunity to cut the fat, as a higher up may say. Basically, less people working in a department means productivity goes way down, and again, morale also goes way down. The product will be way worse at the end of the day. And finally, who are you to determine whether someone gets to keep their job or not? Do you work for this company? The scope of the job is much broader than changing numbers for certain characters. It's very easy for us behind our computers to call for someone to be fired, but imagine you thought the guy making your sandwich at Subway was constantly putting too much vinegar on it. Would you look him dead in the eyes and say he should be fired? Just because you can't see how the devs react doesn't mean they don't see how you react. And that brings me to my next point. The dev team have been very vocal and communicative with us recently. They have gone out of their way to engage with the community and try to experiment with things that we want regardless of if that was their original vision. And they have been much more upfront and honest than I've seen most developers ever be, especially in the AAA space. It is apparent that they are receptive to the feedback we give them, even if it doesn't immediately show in the game itself. Yet how do we engage back with them? Saying they suck at their jobs and are disappointments and should be fired? Yeah, that's a great way to make sure we continue to get this kind of communication in the future. Sure, yeah, okay. And I think this general community sentiment, ironically, is because the Overwatch team has decided to put faces with roles. We all know Aaron Keller and Alec Dawson, and there are plenty of other examples of them having the developers present their work to the public as well. But I think people create almost this insane parasocial relationship with certain developers when they have problems with it, and it becomes very easy to point fingers at the one person you know from this space. It's extremely easy to blame Aaron Keller for everything wrong with the game because he's right there and nobody really knows exactly what he does and what he doesn't do. It's very similar to when people cite Blizzard the company as the reason something is bad. It's not the art team cooked with this skin, it's Blizzard cooked with this skin. It's not why did the matchmaker put me into this game, It's why did Blizzard put me into this game? Nobody actually knows who makes these decisions, what's going on behind closed doors, how they implement things into the game, so they default to the closest proper noun that they can think of. This causes so much hate, and praise too, honestly, justified or not, to go to the wrong places sometimes. So when community sentiment is generally negative, the community perception will also pile up against someone like Alec Dawson or Aaron Keller, who may not actually be directly involved with the things that people are mad at them for. And these are perpetuated by content creators who do the same thing. The pillars of our community, who in my opinion have a responsibility to be a little more mindful of what they say, push these ideas to more and more people, and I think it's just wildly irresponsible. Going on a rant about how someone should be fired, but just by being passionate about it, it will resonate with more people than just being respectful and laying out your arguments. No amount of walking back from that will really change it. I mean, the damage is already done, isn't it? How many times have you seen somebody say, well, this guy's just speaking his mind, and I love that, and then they don't really actually engage with any of the criticism or the arguments being made? And at this point in the video, I'm sure there are 7 comments calling me a shill, saying I'm on Blizzard's payroll, or claiming I'm even Aaron Keller using an AI to change my voice. It will always come up that content creators that Blizzard likes will never say anything meaningfully negative about the game, and I think that's just straight up wrong. I mean, look at Flats. He is constantly talking about how he barely can bring himself to play Overwatch anymore, and that he doesn't think the game is fun, but there he is every time the developers do something with the content creators. It isn't exactly a glowing endorsement when the biggest creator for your game has to force himself to play it. And sure, not all the big content creators are complaining all the time, but maybe they just like playing the game. There's a reason they make their livelihood around it. They kinda like it, you would think. They can have problems with it and still like playing it. These are not mutually exclusive conditions. I think that I'm very critical of the game, but I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't like it. I don't even make money from this. I would instead be catching up on my backlog and not worrying about when my silly number goes up or down. Oh, but I'm in Blizzard's pocket, that's why I'm doing this. Oh, silly me, I forgot. The last point I want to bring up here is that some people believe that the feedback is not respectful because they aren't listening and this is the only way to get their attention. Straight up, no it isn't. I do not care if maybe your larger point is correct or I agree with it even. Why would the dev team want to interact and cater with people who hate their guts? I understand that this is a game as a service and there's a lot of baggage there, but you are not entitled to anything from the developers. The fact that they even listen to us about anything is kind of a miracle. I've played plenty of games where there's just complete radio silence and they do whatever they want. Is there a problem with that? Not inherently. But is it great that there's developers out there that actually want to listen to the community? Yes. They are making the game in the way that they want to the best of their abilities. They cannot cater to everyone, and they certainly won't cater to the people who want them to be forcefully removed from their position. The point of this video is not simply that we need to be constructive with our criticism or that we in general need to be nicer. Both of these things are true. We as a community need a mental reset. There's a lot of hate and vitriol towards the devs and honestly towards each other, and always knee-jerking whenever we don't agree with something will only ever come back to bite us in the ass. I beg, please just stop and think about how you respond to something, positive or negative. So often I see conversations go nowhere because people just do not elaborate or give zero reasoning, and they are literally arguing about nothing, they're barely even communicating. Healthy feedback and conversation only comes from thoughtful, well-realized arguments. Those are the things that resonate the most with the people we are trying to influence the most to make the game better. There will always be people being inflammatory for Twitter likes or TikTok fame, so just do not engage with bad faith bait. That's all I have for today. Thank you for listening to me ramble, and don't forget, if you like and subscribe, I'll give you some of that sweet, sweet Blizzard money, you know what I'm talking about? Unironically, if you did like this video, please let me know in the comment section, or if you didn't. If you hate my guts, that's fine, I don't care, right? Just let me know, it's fine. Like and subscribe while you're at it. I do really appreciate a lot of the support I've been getting recently, and you know, this is a bit of a contentious topic, like I said, so if you do want to support me, I would really appreciate that. Other ways you can support me is that I stream on Twitch Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at twitch.tv/LaneHemingway. I'm always trying to do discussions. I'm playing ranked a lot more recently. There's always something to talk to me about. It's the best way to talk to me. But also, if you have any hot takes or rework ideas or anything like that, please join my Discord. There's a little community in there. I would really appreciate that. Anyway, that's down below. Sorry. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, listening. Have a good day.